Hello, my friends. I hope you are well and provisioned this beautiful spring day. I was working with a Reiki client here in the studio earlier today, and it was such a joy to have her physically present in the studio, which has just recently reopened as circumstances around COVID begin to shift, and there's more ability to welcome people in person with precautions into physical spaces again. And as I was working with her, she mentioned how this full moon cycle that we're in had just really was just doing a number on her emotions. And there was a lot of sadness that had been coming through. And that's part of why she was here working with me today. And it was the third time today that somebody had essentially said the same thing, that this comment that this full moon cycle was bringing a particular wave of sadness, of heaviness, of grief, and that was challenging, but also really beneficial because these particular folks had used that opportunity to clear out some of those feelings, and that it was ultimately a good thing. And it was it was a powerful reminder to me that even myself, a person who generally tends to the cycles of life, the cycles of our planet, that are consistent and that we're a part of, even as someone who pays attention to those things and places an importance on that, um, I'm not always as attentive as I should be. And I had completely missed that we were in a full moon cycle and how that can impact us emotionally and mentally, spiritually. And this week has been a really emotionally intense time for me. I shared in a earlier video this week a story about that. I'll link that video at the end of this one. Um, and I just got to reflecting on how important it is for us to, in even sometimes very small ways, and as many ways as we can, pay attention to these cycles and align our own rhythms, our own patterns, our own behaviors, our own ways in which we move through our life with these cycles of nature that are constant, that are happening all of the time, and that we are intrinsically a part of, even though generally as a species we tend to forget. We have tended to opt out or pretend that we can opt out of paying attention to those cycles. As modern people, we can shield ourselves from the weather, from the changes in environment and climate. And there's real impacts of that, not only on our planet. For example, so many people eating out of season and bringing food from all over so that we can have what we want whenever we want, has such a negative impact on our planet. Um, and we could talk about that all day long. And also, as living beings, living a life where we pretend that we can opt out of the cycles of life that we're intimately a part of, has very detrimental impacts on us emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. And there's a lot of ways in which that shows up. Just invite you to reflect on, how do you feel? How does your body and your mind and your emotions feel in the middle of winter? That's different than how you feel in the middle of summer or springtime. And do we pay attention to that? Do we tend to that? Do we align our activities with that? And, honor, for example, the need for more rest in the winter. We can't always do that, right? We might not necessarily have a job that allows us to slow down in the winter, but how can we tend to that energy in different ways? And in doing that, not only positively impact our own physiology and our own emotional and mental state, but also increasingly reintegrate ourselves individually and as a community into life, into the cycles of the planet, which will impact our behavior towards the planet and our our humility towards this planet that sustains us. And so, that's all of those kinds of thoughts are running through my mind as I contemplated, this fact of forgetting that we're in a full moon cycle right now, and just noticing the way in which I had felt fairly out of control emotionally, relatively speaking, over the last few days without, a real clear sense of why the intensity was the way it was. There are circumstances in my life that are bringing up some of those feelings, but why the intensity, right? And it makes perfect sense that being in the cycle of the full moon would contribute to that. It's an old stereotype and joke almost that the full moon brings intense emotions. We have a whole mythical story around the werewolf and all kinds of other ways in which we notice the intensity of our emotional life during the full moon cycle. And yet, we don't always attend to that. We don't always pay attention to that and leverage it. And therefore, maybe miss the opportunity to do as these folks were mentioning, allow the fact of that emotional intensity to be a place of cleansing, a place of shifting emotions that had been held for a long time. Let it be a place of healing and release in that moment, aligning with the cycles of life for our benefit, and aligning with the cycles of life as a way of remembering that we are inherently the same as those cycles. We're absolutely essential to the workings of this planet, but no more and no less than any other piece of life that is here. So I wanted to share a practice that I've been using today, that I have used in the past in moments when I did pay attention to where we were in the lunar cycle. And these comments by friends today reminded me of it, and I was grateful to have that reconnection with this practice and to share it with you. So this is a practice that is rooted in some of the fundamental practices within the system of Reiki from its Japanese perspectives that I teach. And it's based on the 3 diamonds meditation, which is one of the fundamental kind of frameworks of the system of Reiki from its origins. And the 3 diamonds framework, it's essentially a map of our energy system, similar to the chakra systems. And it comes specifically from the Shinto roots of Reiki. And inside of this structure of the 3 diamonds, we work with 3 main energy centers in the body that map our body onto the world, onto the universe body. The first is in our low belly, the hara, and is connected to the earth. The second diamond is in the head and is connected to the universe, to space, to the spaciousness above and around us. And the third is in the heart, the balancing point between the two. And so this practice works with those 3 energy centers. And it also works with another important framework within the system of Reiki called Sanmitsu, which translates as the 3 mysteries. And this refers to the 3 fundamental ways in which we as humans living a physical life in a body and also a spiritual life, the 3 ways in which we come to experience our life and come to experience our connection with the life around us and the world around us, and therefore our experience as a spiritual being. And those 3 pathways to experiencing life are our physical body, the physical container that we have been given on this planet and its connection to the earth, our mind, or our heart mind, the connection between our heart and our mind, the kind of mental and cognitive, but also sensory experience of the world and life around us, and energy represented by the voice, by the both tangible and yet intangible quality of the voice, invisible yet physically present in the vibration of sound through our body, and the way in which energy rides on that sound and that vibration. The Sanmitsu, the three mysteries, the physical, tangible body, the intangible, ethereal mind, and this voice that bridges the two together. And so, if you think about it, any practice, really, any spiritual practice, draws on all three of these. There's a physical component, there's a mental component. Where is it that we're focusing our mind and in what way? And there is an energy component, and sometimes a component of sound, but certainly of breath, which is related as well. And so this practice will draw on all of that in a relatively simple practice. That was kind of a lot of information to contextualize what will be a fairly simple practice. And specifically in this context, a fairly simple practice with the intention of being with the energy of the lunar cycle, wherever we are in the cycle. So we'll be focusing on the full moon today, because that's where we're at right now today. But if you are practicing this or watching this video at another point, look up where we are in the lunar cycle then, and use the image of the new moon or the dark moon or the quarter moon, wherever we are in the cycle, to do this practice. This practice will combine the body, physical posture, physical sensations, the mind. We're going to use a particular visualization, and we're going to rest our mind and kind of focus our mind in particular ways. And for those of us who are not particularly visual, so visualization does not always work for everybody in meditation, and that's fine. We have lots of different ways of learning and experiencing, and so I'll offer a couple of other ways in which you can work with the visualization if literally visualizing in your mind is just not something that's particularly important to you. And then there'll also be a voice component. So you're invited to make sounds with me when we get to that point in the meditation. And that might feel a little odd as we're not always just making sounds, but I just invite you to try it. It is optional, but strongly encouraged. So here we go into this practice that I'll simply call moon cycle meditation. So first we're going to settle our body into a position for practice. And this meditation can be done standing or seated. If you are standing, have your feet about hip width apart, flat on the ground, knees relaxed, not locked, back upright, head resting gently directly above the feet. And if you're seated, I'm going to invite you to allow your back to be not tight, but also as straight as you can. And perhaps rocking back and forth a little bit to just help find that centered, balanced place where the back can feel straight and supported without straining, so that it can be strong without being tight. And when you find that balanced place, letting yourself settle or continue to rock. This can be done with motion as well. Meditation does not have to be still, does not have to be silent. So either settling your body or continuing to rock. And from the strength of your back, I invite you to relax your belly. And this may take a couple of breaths, just really intentionally noticing if the belly is held tight. We so often hold the muscles of the stomach tight without even noticing. So it might take a couple of breaths to just intentionally invite the belly to relax so that it moves naturally with the breath, expanding, taking up more space with the inhale, contracting on the exhale. And allowing your feet to be either flat on the ground if you're sitting in a chair, or if you're sitting on the ground cross-legged, Just allowing yourself to feel balanced in that position. Noticing the places on your body that are in contact with the ground. And take a couple of breaths here, just noticing if your position, if your body is asking for any further adjustments to feel both alert, strong, and upright, while at the same time relaxed, gentle, soft in the belly. Supported and held. And from this position, I invite you to set an intention to be in practice. And on your next cycle of breath, I invite you to follow your inhale in and down, as if the movement of the breath could sweep your attention up, draw the attention into your body and down into the belly, as the belly expands softly with the breath, and draw your attention all the way down to the low belly. Let's take a few breaths together, just practicing bringing our attention to rest in the center of the low belly, 2 inches below the belly button and deep into the center of the body. The hara, the first diamond. And as you continue to follow your inhale in and down to the low belly, resting your attention here, I invite you to begin to visualize or sense the sphere of the earth below your feet, below your body. As if you are standing or sitting directly upon the sphere of the earth, which of course we are, but envisioning it there. Bringing your attention as you inhale and bringing your attention down in the body to those places that are in contact with the earth, your feet, your legs. And holding the image or the sensation of the firm sphere of the earth below your feet. As if you were a celestial body floating in the universe, but anchored to this beautiful sphere at your feet. And so for the next few rounds of breath, as you bring your attention in and down, rest your attention on this image of the earth below your feet, or the sensation of your body held by the ground. Let's practice that for a few breaths. And as you continue to rest your attention here, on our next round of breath, I invite you to join me in intoning the syllable O in a low tone as you continue to rest your attention on the sensation of the ground holding your body and the image of the earth below you. So in your next round of breath, breathing in deeply to the belly, letting the belly be soft, and as you exhale, intoning O with me. I invite you to repeat that tone as many times as you like. Pause the video and stay here for some time if you like. Noticing the sensation of vibration in your low belly as you make this sound. We'll do it once more together. And staying here as long as you like. When you're ready, we're going to gently shift our attention. And so on your next round of breath, we'll again inhale down to the low belly, into the sensation of the earth below, the image of the earth below us. And then as you exhale, begin to follow the breath with your attention up, up and up and up and up to the space just above the head. Let's just practice with this rhythm for a few breaths. Inhaling, your attention comes down to the belly, and exhaling, your attention rises on the breath up to the space just above the head. Let's just practice that movement, that shifting of attention for a few rounds of breath. If you find it challenging to do this, some things that can help is to place a hand at the belly, another hand at the head. Follow the sensation of the pressure of the hands. Or you can use movement with the breath as you inhale, bringing your hand down to the belly. And as you exhale, bringing it up to the head. And as you settle into this rhythm, I invite you to begin to sense or imagine at the top of your head, hovering just above you, the image of the beautiful sphere of the moon. And visualizing it in the phase of the moon that you are currently inside of. So right now, in my time, it is the full moon. And so I'm imagining that at my feet is the sphere of the earth. And just above my head is the sphere of the full moon. And if visualizing is challenging or is not useful, bring your attention to the sensation of air touching the skin of your head. If there's a breeze, the sensation of it moving your hair, caressing your skin. The sensation of spaciousness up and around and above, from the crown of your head out into the vastness of the universe. And so let's be in this pattern together for a few rounds of breath. Breathing in, the attention moves down to the belly, to the earth below, to that image or sensation of the sphere of the earth below our feet. And as we exhale, our attention rises on the breath to rest on the space above our head and the image or sensation of the beautiful sphere of the moon just above us. Let's be in this practice together for a few rounds of breath. I invite you to remain in this practice for as long as you like, pausing the video if you'd like to take more time here. And when you're ready, I invite you to join me in intoning the sound of A. On our next round of breath, we'll do this together, breathing into the belly. Feeling the vibration of that tone in your head and in the space all around. We'll do it again together one more time, breathing into the belly. And continuing to intone as long as you like. Beginning to feel the subtle balancing of the stable, solid earth below. And from that stable base, the ability to lift up and out and be with the vastness of those celestial bodies and the intensity of that full moon from a stable and rooted place. And continuing this practice for as long as you like, pausing the video if it's helpful. And when you feel ready, we're going to shift our attention one more time. Continuing to hold the image of the sphere of the earth below our feet and the sphere of the moon above our head. I invite you to now sense or imagine the sphere of your own heart balanced between the two. And this time, as you inhale, sense or imagine energy being drawn from below and above the earth and the moon, drawing together in the center and meeting in the heart. And as you exhale, imagine that energy expanding in all directions from your heart, the sphere of your heart balancing right in the center, moving out to fill you and surround you. And we'll practice this for a few rounds of breath. As you inhale, drawing your attention in from above and below, meeting at the center, the heart. On the inhale, and as you exhale, imagining that energy, that heart field expanding in all directions, filling you, surrounding you, connecting you to the web of life. And if it's helpful to make a gesture, you can bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the head, and as you inhale, drawing them slowly together with the breath, meeting at the heart, And as you exhale, a gesture of expansion from the heart outward, that heart field which is measurable, which is that which connects us to the web of life all around. And practicing this movement of the attention for a few rounds of breath. As you continue breathing in this way, drawing the stability, the nurturing energy of the earth, and the expansive, vast, reaching energy of the universe, drawing them into the heart, where we can perceive and feel and navigate all of the sensations and emotions that come with being a physical body that can hold such vast energies, that can metabolize them, that can contribute our energy back through the heart. And if there's any particular emotions that are feeling strong for you today, such as the sadness that had come in for me on the full moon this time, I invite you to imagine those emotions coming with the breath, with these energies from above and below and entering the heart, where there is space, where there's room. And as you exhale, those energies, those emotions expand in all directions, releasing, moving back into the cycle of life to be repurposed. Breathing in this way as long as you like, pausing the video if you want more time. And when you're ready, I invite you to join me in intoning the sound ah here at the heart. So doing this together on your next inhale, drawing in from above and below. Noticing the sensation of that syllable vibrating in your chest, the movement of it. We'll do it one more time together, breathing in. And continuing to intone as long as you like. And when you're ready, coming back into stillness and just being with the sensation of that sound still vibrating in the body. And for your next few rounds of breath, I invite you to simply hold the image or the sensation of your body supported by the sphere of the earth below your feet, reaching towards the sphere of the moon above your head, and resting in the sphere of your heart between the two. And resting here as long as you like. And when you're ready, you take a couple of breaths, following the breath up and out, noticing the space around you, the room that you're in. And when you're ready, giving yourself a gesture of completion. Setting your intention to close your practice. And coming back to the room. Welcome back. Thank you for practicing with me. Sharing these practices with you helps me be accountable to continuing to use them in my own life with diligence. So I appreciate you being with me on this ride. Feel free to use this meditation anytime. Just remembering to notice where you are in that moment in the lunar cycle and using that particular image of the moon. And in this way, in this intentional and yet also subtle way, you'll align yourself with that cycle. You'll remind your system that we are no different from any other creature, any other form of life, any other expression of the universe that is here participating in these cycles at all times. And then as you continue to do this, notice the impact that has on your life, on how you feel day to day, on how you navigate the challenges and joys, transitions of your life. It's a simple practice, not always easy to be diligent about, but it's often the simplest practices when done with diligence and intention that can have the biggest impact on our lived experience in this life. So let's keep going. And may we each be provisioned for that journey every step of the way. Thanks for practicing with me today, folks. I love you. Goodbye.